I honestly didn't know how to start this video, but look, in all honesty, I'm just sorry. I'm not crypto kid. I'm not 16 years old. I've been married for the past 5 years. I'm 28. I just got a kid a couple of months back. And honestly speaking, when I started the channel in December 2021, I really thought it would be okay to go as the kid in the space. But now I realize it was so stupid. So I really want to apologize to each and every one of you. And after this video, I will be changing my name from Crypto Kid to Crypto Man. I mean, who was I kidding? Look at the facial hair. But I just want to apologize to everyone for lying to you. And I hope I can make it up. Guys, April Fools aside, look, I just had to do that joke. It's April Fools, and it was the most fitting joke to do. So I'm sorry. I apologize, and I apologize for the title. I don't think you got scared of that necessarily. Probably some of you were like, I knew it. This kid isn't 16. But we've had our fun. Let's jump into the price of Bitcoin because we are dumping from the ascending triangle. Of course, going into the weekend, Easter holidays, Bitcoin did not experience too much volume as the Bitcoin ETFs were not trading. We had an off day for Bitcoin on Friday, and then going into the normal weekend, Bitcoin doesn't tend to move much anyways. So yesterday we discussed about this ascending triangle pattern. I mentioned that if we do end up losing this support line, it would be likely that Bitcoin can reverse back to 66.5K, 66.7K. Earlier on today, I also mentioned on the Telegram community that if Bitcoin breaks down from 69K with a confirmation of negative volume, which we are seeing currently, then the target of 66.7K will become more likely. And that's what's happening in the markets right now. The Bollinger Bands were squeezing, so compressing. The Bollinger Bands compressing indicates that a huge move would be coming up. And if we go back to when the Bollinger Bands were squeezing, similar to what we saw in the past couple of days, that was back in March 8th, I believe, and Bitcoin had a 9.5% move. And the truth is, when sometimes an asset doesn't have enough volume, the price can reverse back towards the downside simply because of that fact. Because for price to go down, you actually don't need as many variables for price to increase. For price to drop, you just don't need people to be buying, and that's it, right? If people don't buy and people are selling, then those two variables will cause the price to reverse harder. But if people are just not buying, then the price will consolidate for a while and will likely drop towards the downside. And that's exactly what we're seeing today. But the question is this drop harmful? Will we really make it down to this level here? And can we see a bounce potentially right now? Look, personally speaking, of course, nothing in this video is financial advice, just my personal TA only. We saw a retest to the support level, the prior support level of this ascending triangle, and following a retest, Bitcoin with a confirmation continued dumping towards the downside. So in terms of next level of support, right now 68.5K is somehow important because we did test it back in the 27th of March. So if Bitcoin can hold where we are right now, there's still some hope. But if we break this neckline, if you want to call it, then that will be confirming this double top pattern. And this double top pattern, in my opinion, could bring a reversal, like I mentioned, towards 66.7K. And I already set some buy orders, like I discussed before, at this level to be buying Bitcoin in case of a reversal. What I learned in crypto is that shorting Bitcoin in a bull market is never a good idea. So instead, I've adopted the strategy to just DCA in if we expect a reversal towards the downside. But it's okay. It was expected. Nothing to be worried about in the short term. Even if Bitcoin dumps back down to 65 or even 64.2K to close the CME gap, which let me try and find it. I don't think it's on the chart today, but I'll make sure to bring it up for tomorrow. Even if we close the CME gap, which sits at 64.2K, that's fine because we will still be within an uptrend for Bitcoin if we zoom into the short term, and 64.2 will just be here. So we would be barely staying in an uptrend, but in my opinion, it would be okay for Bitcoin and it will just be a buy the dip opportunity. Just remember to not be scared and expect Bitcoin to get lower. Don't fall for your emotions. When you fall for your emotions, then you tend to unfortunately miss out. I've been a part of that, and that's why I just want to give you this personal experience so that you don't get trapped within these same emotions. But Bitcoin, like I said, short-term reversal was expected. That's fine. Today is the 1st of April, so that marks a new month for Bitcoin. For the past 7 months, Bitcoin has been having an uptrend. This only happened once before in the history of Bitcoin, where we had 7 candles going upwards, and this was in 2012, I believe. And people were worried because why? Momentum is getting dried up. Like, now we don't have momentum left. The Bitcoin halving is within 20 days. That's the only event people are looking out for. And I think markets have still not decided whether this move for the halving is priced in or not. And honestly speaking, this month to close in a red candle would be very, very bullish because, yes, we're going to have a drawdown. The higher we go, the higher chance it is likely to have a more fall towards the downside. And if this candle here, so this month's candle, can at least survive at like 64K or maybe even 59K, then I think that would be the perfect opportunity to, again, be buying the dip for Bitcoin and going into May. If we can rebound from those levels, I think that will give us a confirmation that Bitcoin could be heading to new all-time highs, meaning we could be reaching the 90K areas. But in the meantime, I'll just be careful with what's happening this month. We'll probably have a lot of volatility. The halving is coming up in 20 days, and we need to see how Wall Street reacts to this. In the short term, we just need to be careful that tomorrow, because of the drop that has been happening for the past 2 days or so, the ETFs will not report massive net outflows, because if they report massive net outflows, then what we know about Bitcoin is that it will just continue that downtrend and we'll be stuck in this loop where more net outflows will cause the spot price of Bitcoin to decrease further. So that's what we need to be looking out for. In terms of news, I don't have much for today. I already scared you at the first half of the video, so I don't want to go into crazy stuff. But what we can discuss about is the long-term vision for Bitcoin, because in the long term, actually, accumulation addresses, which are consistent of the whale addresses, they are at all-time highs in terms of how much they're buying Bitcoin. If we go into previous cycles, we can see that their accumulation of Bitcoin as the asset has been never at the levels that we're seeing today. And that is just an incredible thing. Usually when we approach an all-time high or a top for Bitcoin, the whale accumulation starts to curve and slow down. And then that is further on reflected on the spot price of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin tends to enter into a bear market. But what you can notice here is that whale accumulation is just going up vertically in a parabola. So there's no sign of stopping yet. And what we can also see is that the total available Bitcoin on exchanges globally, that's at all-time lows. So when there's huge amount of demand and when there is a shortage in supply, what we can experience is a supply shock, which should, in theory, again, like I mentioned in multiple videos in the past, that in theory, economic theory, should cause the price of Bitcoin to skyrocket. So even though in the short term we're expecting a further correction, I'm just saying in the long term, do not lose the macro view, because Bitcoin is incredibly bullish, more bullish than ever before if we jump onto longer timeframes and look at on-chain data. But ladies and gents, that sums up today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, comment down below. What did you think of that April Fool's joke? Or if any of your other favorite crypto influencers have tried to prank you in a similar way. I know that Da Vinci shared a video saying that YouTube is shutting him down. That's of course not true. But ladies and gents, have a beautiful day, and I'll be seeing you all on tomorrow's video. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye.